Hello everyone, this is Jamerica with Jamerica Life. I hope y'all are having a wonderful day. Come on, girl. And today I wanted to talk to you. I gotta make sure I crack this door. Today I wanted to talk to you about solarizing your soil. And there's a difference between doing that and turning it over. So let me show you what I did earlier, and then, let's go to the other side. So I had a problem on the other side, on the raggedy side, that's what I call it, with weeds coming up and the plants overgrowing and growing into one another, and I was just gonna pull up everything. But then I thought to myself, if I pull it up, I'm pulling up the nutrients that could possibly still be in the soil, as well as the debris from the plants that actually feed future plants. So instead of pulling it up, I put plastic out there. What's going to happen is the heat from the sun goes and heats up everything under that plastic, and all of the nutrients stay in there. The microbiome do not die, which is very, 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 very important. That's the stuff that actually stimulates your roots and helps to grow. If I just pulled everything out and threw it into the compost, I have to redo all of that. And I have to feed it more. And why? If you have a bunch of weeds and a bunch of plants overgrowing in an area, if you have the room and the time, throw some plastic over it and let the sun do the work for you. Now we're going to go to the other side. I'm going to show you what it looks like after a couple of months. Okay. So if you didn't know, I do not like working myself to death. And I thought to myself, oh man, I'm going to have to turn all of this stuff over, and I'm going to have to pull all of this stuff out and do the back-breaking work that comes with gardening. And I don't mind doing that. Actually, I do mind doing it. I do mind. And I don't want to do it. I'm going to do it the least amount of time as possible. Philomena, don't go in there. That rabbit lives there. Come on. She's so disturbing. So instead of working myself to death, because I have enough work out here, I feel like I do. All gardeners have enough work. You don't need any extra work. If you have the space and you have the time, go ahead and cover that joker up. Like that yellow tarp or that orange tarp. Get your colors right, girl. That orange tarp right there. So I'm gonna peel some of it back and show you what it looks like, okay? I'm looking over there and I see stuff landing. I'm like, are those my bees? I left them water. No, it's wasps. There is a difference. Wasps will land on top of the water, float, cool themselves off, and then they'll just fly off like nothing. Bees most likely will drown, and I learned that the hard way. So let's move this little big plant out of the way. Let's take a look-see, okay? You're gonna see it at the same time I do, but I know what it looks like because I've done this before. So we got our tarp here, and I'm just gonna give you a glimpse because I'm not ready to plant yet. A glimpse of what it looks like under here. Look at that. Cleared land. No weeds, no nothing. Cleared, completely cleared for me. See that? Now it might be dry. That's okay, but I don't have to fight with turning over weeds and anything. Everything under there has passed on, with the exception of all the microorganisms are still alive down here, but the weeds are gone. And I didn't kill any of my earthworms. Everything is still alive under there. The more you turn your soil, the more you hurt or destroy the ecosystem and the soil, to include your earthworms. You don't want to do that. So the least amount of digging is possible. That's why when I do the hill method, and you'll see that when I replant, all I do is turn one side and flip it on top of the other, and I plant on the hill, trying not to disturb the soil as much as possible. I do not want to disturb the soil at all. Everything's still growing. So let's put this back down here. put this back on top of here and I'll be right back. I don't proclaim to be the best gardener, but I pay attention to what people do, not what they say. Sometimes just watching another gardener can help you a lot. Sometimes they don't remember to tell you everything. They're telling you one thing, but if you look and see what they're doing, that's where you're going to get your information. As a matter of fact, sometimes you'll get more information from watching them than from what they say. There were two gardeners that I saw that did that. Two out of a whole lot, a whole bunch. Most are pulling stuff up and tossing it, either tossing it completely or putting it in a compost pile. And there is nothing wrong with the compost pile. Trust, I have a compost pile. I have one in the corner because I'm getting tired of buying soil for my seedlings. I buy soil for seedlings. That's it. I don't put it out there unless it's coming with a seedling. So the name of the game is to work smarter, not harder. That's the first thing. And when you do that and you let all of that stuff sit, sit for 6 months over winter, you spend less money on fertilizer and compost. And compost, why compost when you could have your own compost? All of those grass clippings, tree branches, it's gonna take a while for the tree branches, or leaves and tree and grass clippings, that stuff breaks down and that makes soil. I learned that when I was a little girl. We had a whole bunch of leaves and we didn't pick it up and we left it in the back of the driveway. We just started raking it and we put it all in a corner. My grandma said, put it in a corner of the fence line. So we had it next to the garage and the fence, and it was a big heap, right? So I went out there after about, I say 8 months, because it gets cold. I'm originally from New York. So from September through about April, May, it's cold. You don't want to plant anything out there. You do not. It's cold unless it's changed. So between those months, I went out there and I started messing around with it because it didn't look like leaves. It was a little brown on the top, but there was very few leaves left. It had broken down and it was black soil. It looked better than the soil that we were purchasing from the store, because my grandma used to try to fertilize the soil with compost and all that stuff. You don't have to do that. You could do it with your own things. I have plants that are drying up and passing away right now, and I'm just putting them in the corner of the backyard. I solarize the soil so the stuff that is under there decomposes underneath there. And if I need any additional compost, I use my own. There were some ladies who purchased some compost from a commercial vendor, and it wasn't, example, the only compost that you can use directly from an animal that I know of are rabbits, maybe horses. But if I took this chicken compost and put it directly in my soil without letting it sit for at least 6 months, it'll burn up everything. So use your leaves, use your grass clippings, solarize your soil, and do it yourself. It's safer that way, and then you know that nothing most likely will happen unless, if I use that directly, this stuff in the chicken coop, I'd have to let it sit. And because I'm in zone 9A, I garden almost all year round, almost the entire year. We have a couple of bursts where it freezes, and I just take a piece of plastic, same old tarp, try to prop it up above the cabbage or any of the brassicas. That is what I grow in the fall. I prop it up so it's not directly touching it, and all I have to do is break the wind shear, because it's not going to last long. Brassicas can take a freeze. It can. If you cover them up, it can take a freeze. So solarizing the soil, that's where the brassicas were last year. Solarizing the soil helps you to keep your microbiome alive, your worms alive, your microorganisms alive, and using your own compost is a safer bet than going to the store and spending, I don't know, how much is it for compost? $10? I ain't doing that. I ain't doing that. Let's go out to the compost pile. So we already talked about solarization and how it helps keep whatever little insects that are good for your plants alive in that soil. When pulling it out is just disrupting everything, and digging up is doing a lot of damage, believe it or not. People till. That's why a lot of people are going to no-till, because they realized they were having to buy worms because they had destroyed the worm population in their soil. And everybody knows that worm castings, you could buy those. I saw that at the big box store. People are buying worm castings. Why? If you don't dig up your soil and destroy the worms in your soil, well, you're gonna have worm castings. You're gonna have whatever excrements, because that's what it is, that they left behind. You're just gonna have it there. But if you dig it up and you basically chop your worms up by tilling it, then you're gonna have to buy it. You're spending more money for a garden. I don't like spending a lot of money. That's why I solarize it, because those tarps, that plastic, I'm never gonna buy that again. I bought that I bought that last year, and it's starting to crack and break down. Get a tarp. Tarps work. Tarps last longer because apparently they have some fiber in it that makes it last longer, and they're more flexible. So I recommend do not buy the 4mm plastic. I got this from the big box store. Don't buy that. Buy a tarp and tarp it. They have them like two for $10 at the big, the big box store that you have to pay for with the C, and I'm sure that the big box store with the S has it. All of them have tarps. Buy some tarps, cover your soil up. As a matter of fact, let me tell you what I'm going to do with my compost pile. I'm going to solarize that joker too. Let's go out there. While we walk out there, I'm going to talk to you. So I was thinking, because I have a lot of sticks out there, a lot of sticks, and branches and sticks take longer to break down than grass and leaves, because I'm going to start asking my neighbors. I'm going to help them out. If I don't have enough leaves back here, guess what? I'm going to go and get some of their leaves, because some of them don't like raking their lawn. They don't like it. They don't want to do it. So I'll just help them a little bit, just a little bit, just until I get what I need. Or I'll wait till they rake it up and put in them brown sacks for the garbage man and go and pick it up. Although I don't really trust that, because you don't know what they put in them sacks sometimes. They might have all kind of, they may spray their stuff with some kind of herbicide and mess me up. So the people that I know are the ones that I'm going to say, hey, let me help you out. I know they're not putting anything on there, because I watch, I know these people, and I know they're not gardeners, and they're not trying to, have that manicured green lawn with no weeds. They just want lawn. So out here in the corner of the yard, I have a compost pile, because I'm not paying for something I could do. Why pay for what you could get for free? See that? But that's mostly sticks. So over here, I'm going to start another little pile. See that one? That pile is going to be right next to it. It's going to have leaves, and it's going to have grass clippings, mostly leaves, because grass clippings, when we mow, it's self-mulching. So it just leaves the grass clippings down there. But the leaves, they're going to fall. The leaves are going to fall, and I'm going to start the thing there. And guess what I'm going to do with the leaves? Once I put them in there, I'll probably put some T-posts around, like most people who do compost, and I'm gonna cover it with some tarp. Philomena, get over here. Come here. Get ready to go up in them people's yard. So, yeah, that is the name of the game. And you shouldn't have to spend $1 million to be a gardener. You shouldn't. These trees, I think that's the most you should be spending your money on. Trees and seeds. And once you get seeds, try to harvest as much as you possibly can to get more seeds, so you don't have to buy those things again. Y'all see I'm struggling out here, right? See how dry it is? This happens every year. But this is better than last year, believe it or not. It's almost over. Almost over. And you see the hose? I'm struggling. They're struggling. And I feel so bad for them, because they don't get any kind of, help. They don't get any kind of help except for me coming out here watering them. So you got to give them the best possible situation. And that situation is solarizing and using your own compost or making your own compost. Nobody, put it far away from everybody, because some people say, oh, it's so unsightly. And those people, well, they got money apparently. Money to burn. See this down here? I'm going to turn the camera around. This is why I'm saying do not buy that plastic from the big box store. Get a tarp. See that? This is that 4mm, I think, or a 6. And it's just falling apart. Look. It's just falling, it's cracking up. Look at that. Let me put this in the trash. It's just degrading. And it's less than a year old. And I just had it sitting over there all nicely folded up. Look, it left a trail of what used to be plastic. I didn't get this stuff up too. This stuff, apparently, it didn't say it would break down like this. It shouldn't be. I know the Texas sun is wicked, but it ain't that wicked. Philomena, get over here. So, solarizing is the way to go. Making your own compost is the way to go also. You don't have to buy soil, you don't have to buy compost, and you definitely won't have to buy as much fertilizer, because your plants will grow. They'll grow. I, however, do, especially with the potted plants, I do fertilize. I go ahead and I put some fish emulsion in there. But there's a caveat to that. There was months ago, remember that snail problem I had? Well, I put those jokers in a bucket and they never came out. So the bucket is over there. I'm not gonna open it until, let me get a canister or something. Not gonna open it until I got a mask on, because that joker smells bad. And I'm gonna just work it into some soil. I might put it in the compost pile. That's probably what I'll do. Put it in the compost pile and let it do its thing, because it smells like rotten meat. It's been in there months. Happened in spring. Remember when I picked them snails up? Yeah, they still in there. I hope that when I talk to you guys, it's helping someone. There are a lot of people. I'm doing a challenge, which is a $20, and you got to be able to eat healthy as possible off of $20 as long as possible. And guess what I found out? It's super hard to eat well without going over $20. Some people have a $10 challenge for one day, and for one meal. That's a lot of money. Add up $10 times 30 days. Some people don't have that. $10 a day? That's a lot. $10 a day should feed you all day. You and somebody else. I could understand $10 a day for a family of 4. But $10 a day in Texas for one person or even 2 people is too much for me. If you are cooking your own food, you have to be able to shop for the sales. And in order to make ends meet nowadays, plant a couple of seeds so you'll have some fresh vegetables or fresh aromatics like peppers, because you grow that in your house. Peppers and tomatoes. You'll have those fresh things to add to the processed stuff, because processed stuff is where we're having our trouble. That is where we're having our trouble. Solarize your soil, do your own compost, try to grow your own food. This is Jamerica with Jamerica Life. I thank you guys for being with me. I hope this helped somebody, and I'll see you on the next one, all right? Bye.